Newcastle, who have gotten rid of all their main players. No Gordon, no Bruno Guimaraes, no Joe Linton, none of these players, no Tonali, none of these players are there. This team right here is a very much a beatable team.
Goals. Your defensive midfielder are the one that's supposed to assume that role in this setup. Ryan Gravenberch, who was hooked and taken off again for another abject performance.
Excuses for these players. There are no more excuses for this team. Outside Rio Gomoa playing right wing, everyone was in their natural position. No one was asked to underlap. Kirk has overlapped, Frimpong overlapped. Everyone played in their correct and rightful positions. Some of these players are simply not performing. Florian Wirtz today did not perform. Ryan Gravenberch, I don't care if he got the assist for a Gakpo goal from 40 yards. Both goals were conceded because he can't pass to save his life in the final third. Alexander Isak, for me, I think he got involved in the game a bit more, but should be doing a bit better. When you look at the team overall, this is on quality. Now, the problem we have at Liverpool is that quality problem, and it is not a managerial or a coaching or a tactics problem. Today, everyone was in their correct positions outside Rio Gomoa, and the team simply did not perform at the level expected. This is a butt-naked Newcastle who have gotten rid of all their main players. No Gordon, no Bruno Guimaraes, no Joe Linton, none of these players, no Tonali, none of these players are there. This team right here is a very much a beatable team. Now, I'm not saying St. James's Park away, a draw is a disaster and it's horrendous. No, it's not horrendous, but we have to speak about these things. I said all summer long, you don't plan to fail, you fail to plan. Liverpool's execution in this transfer window has led us to here. Number one, Trey Ione did not play today. It's very easy to send out all the PR. It's very easy to send out all the messages to the Paul Joyces and to all the Liverpool journalists that Trey Ione is this up-and-coming superstar that's going to replace Curtis Jones. He ends up not playing. Maybe Iraola thinks he's not ready. I think personally Trey Ione should have played. That's what I think. Now, let me get to the players. First of all, I'm going to thank Anthony.
To be honest, I'm not sure how we've pulled that off and came away with a point. It had everything really. It had the absolute bonkers, the madness. It had a bit of survival at the end where somehow we get a point, we cling a point, and we take a point home. And my word, am I taking that point home? I was flabbergasted by the way we played at times today. Like, look, I'm running on adrenaline because we've scored the last goal there. We're taking a point home when I felt like we shouldn't have took anything home. The two goals are just a joke, an absolute utter joke. Simple stuff. Like, you lose a ball on the edge of their box. Isak is a red. He needs to do a lot better, by the way. But I am, you know, if this goes bigger, we'll join in. But yeah, I was stunned with the way we were playing at times. You lose the ball on the edge of their box and somehow it ends up in a goal for them. The lack of maybe leadership, the lack of command, no one closing down, people just deciding to let someone run 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 yards with a ball, and both times it ends up in a goal. The first 3 minutes, I think the Reds actually control the game. I think Wirtz has a chance, and we'll get on to Wirtz in a minute. I think he has a chance, he doesn't put it away. He could maybe pass it to Rio on the right, we'll also speak about that. But neither of those options happen, and, you know, I felt like we were all right. And then 4 or 5 minutes in, Liverpool, headless chickens, bonkers, commit too many lads forward. Ryan Gravenberch initially does well on the half-turn. I thought he did well on the half-turn. Defensively, I thought it was an absolute shambles from our midfield, to be honest. And yeah, I do think, you know, the goals are just ludicrous. Like, I can't say anything aside from it's a joke how it's happened. The fact that I don't care who.
Can definitely point out your frustrations though right now, and I think a lot of the frustrations don't so much lie around perhaps lacking in a bit of sharpness, because that will come given letting the season catch up with us a bit. I don't think our problems My problems anyway are we're not looking great in terms of patterns. I think we look miles off it in terms of distances. Massive spaces in midfield. I think that'll get tighter as we build more chemistry and build a bit more cohesiveness in the system. My frustrations lie actually personnel-wise. And I look at the 2 positions today, arguably 3, that were our weakest positions. Holding midfield, right back, right wing. We could sign all 3, and I wouldn't turn one away. Frimpong today were rubbish. Maybe that's harsh. I think Frimpong was poor today. I think both our fullbacks weren't great, by the way. But when the ball, when you finally get into the final third, okay, let's put a ball in. And I don't know if this is me being almost spoiled because I've watched Trent for the last half decade do this. Put a cross in, there's no end ball there from Frimpong or from Rio Ngamoa. So I think we need to send it right back. I still think that. I think we need to send a midfield player. I still think that, and it's so evident today. We'll talk about Rio in a minute. And I will get onto the player ratings. How you can watch our team and think we don't need a sitting midfielder, I don't know, and I can't help you. People are telling me that Naoni's the answer. Well, where was he today? Because he wasn't played today. If Naoni was somewhat the answer, don't you think he would have featured today? If the manager wanted to back him, don't you think he would have come on instead of McAllister, who's had 45 minutes of pre-season and he only came back off World Cup last week? Naoni's not the answer, clearly. Whether you think he is or think he isn't, the manager ain't played him in this game. We need a holding midfield player it's sticking out like a sore thumb. Both goals we let in, and rewatch them, they come from Gravenberch. Maybe he didn't lose the ball. The second goal was a bit weird. He kind of got it stuck under him, didn't he? It was a bit messy. But he was the player who was probably at the scene of the crime more than anyone in both goals. Certainly the first one, when he misplaces a pass to the left-hand side, I think, to Wirtz, instead of shooting and going back.
Kind of predicted a madness from Liverpool this season. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to be loads of high-scoring games involving Liverpool. And that's what we got today. I don't know how I feel, but I'm going to try to express it in the next 7-8 more minutes. Just finished a mob. Big up the rest of the boys. They've gone upstairs after trolling and abusing me, whatever. And yeah, look, Newcastle to Liverpool to opening game of the season away from home. In normal situations, in normal circumstances, all things being considered, you would say that a draw away to a passionate, excited, emotional game at Newcastle, you take the draw and you take the point. But unfortunately, looking at the 2 starting lineups, I didn't anticipate that. And what I mean by that is that performance. I thought the performance was lackluster. I thought all the players that were under scrutiny, Gakpo, Isak, Wirtz, Frimpong, I thought they were poor people. I don't know what you guys think. I'm sure you're going to let me know in the chat. But I thought they were poor. I thought none of them were above 4 out of 10. I know Gakpo scored, and he always kind of scores, and he's a stats merchant. But my God, his overall game was atrocious. I thought Isak played like a mouse, like Toby said, my friend from the Big Six.
And where is the aggression gone that we've seen in pre-season? We'll go through that. Midfield, again, defensively non-existent. But again, when we get into the final third, we keep turning over possession and it keeps coming back to bite us in the backside. Not too many players out there today in the Liverpool shirt can hold their heads up high, but I'm going to give you my take on the game. So look, let's set the tone. We went into it knowing that Newcastle have had a pretty bad summer, right? They've been absolutely decimated, lots of their top players leaving. And we asked ourselves, is this the right time for Liverpool to go in there and take on Newcastle? Will we be able to get off to a good start in the Premier League? Well, the answer to that was, it could have been, but it wasn't. Because the same old Liverpool showed up. The aggression that we've been led to believe was going to be there in pre-season hasn't shown up. The defending is back to what it was. But the biggest bugbear for me in all of this, and the reason for both of Newcastle's goals today, and the reason for many of the goals during in pre-season, is us turning over possession in the final third of the pitch. I've said it time and time again, we do not protect the ball good enough, and it has come back to bite us in the backside yet again. And here's the irony. Who was the one that turned over possession twice to give away the 2 goals today, or that led to the goals? Your defensive midfielder, or the one that's supposed to assume that role in this setup, Ryan Gravenberch, who was hooked and taken off again for another abject performance. We'll move on to the attack and how poor that was, but we cannot ignore this. As Liverpool fans, whether you are a fan or a pundit or somebody who just loves the game, everybody that watches Liverpool knows without any hesitation that we don't have a defensive midfielder. We've talked about it time and time again, but they're the holes yet again. Turnover possession, nobody there to cover, nobody to break up attacks, nobody to snuff out the danger, and yet we're led to believe that we don't need one in this system. Whoever is trying to pawn you off with that garbage is exactly that, garbage, because it's nonsense. We have clear deficiencies, and defensive midfield is the most obvious.